Hi, my name is Jade Paris, founder and host of Six Seat, a private dining experience where five strangers come together over a shared meal and leave having uncovered something deeper. Each dinner explores a central theme, and tonight's is the table remembers, a conversation about how food, memory, and how the moments from our past shape our palates. For me, the table was always more than a place to eat. It was culture. It was survival. It was a home that held some of our family's most cherished moments. I created this space to remind us that connection still matters, and that sometimes the most meaningful conversations happen with people we've never met. So this is my offering, a personal contribution to what gathering can look like when done with intention and care. Welcome to Six Seat.
Mirando el Big Ben, allí me quedé. La Torre de Londres, Westminster y San Paul. En un taxi negro, a Piccadilly voy. Viajando hacia el sur, muchos lugares vi. Y en la bodeguita, en Cali me vi. Buscando mi ancestro, un país encontré.
Guys, and welcome to Mezquite. So just a little bit about the inspiration behind the restaurant, why it's here and everything. A lot of our owners are from Tucson, Arizona, which directly borders the Sonoran region of Mexico. And so they grew up really eating this style of food just across the border. And then with it being located in Pullman Market, all being from Texas, the similarities of the landscape between Texas and the Sonoran region really blend each other and lean into the type of cuisine that they have. So they're really, really known for beef and wheat, and so is Texas. And so here at Mezquite, it's really all about the beef and the flour tortillas.
Amazing.
I hope you all enjoy everything. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Chef.
So good. Cheers.
Salud.
Salud.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Woo!
Alrighty, guys, welcome. My name is Ian Corral. I'm the chef de cuisine here at Mezquite. So what we have in front of us is part of our mariscos and ceviches. So in the north part of Mexico, we like to eat light a little bit first, and then we go into the entrees. So what we have here is going to be a watermelon tartare that is going to have a recado negro underneath it. A little bit of burnt avocado. It's going to have a lemon puree. On the green side is going to be your aguachile verde made with a little bit of snapper. We compress the cucumber on a cilantro oil. And then the next one is going to be our ceviche negro. So basically we have a little bit of salsa macha. We burn whatever fruit is in season, and then we mix it with a little bit of grapefruit juice. That is going to be your base. And then we have some of the same produce on top. A little bit of fresh cucumber, fresh red onion, toasted peanuts. Enjoy it.
Does anybody have any like weird traditions in their family that like did not make sense to them?
I don't think I had a weird tradition per se. It's kind of sort of like when I'm the youngest in the family.
Okay.
I have an older brother, and then out of all my cousins, I'm youngest as well. My
Baby.
yeah,
Oh, baby.
my next eldest cousin is she's like a couple years older than my brother.
Okay.
So like whenever I'm 6, they're like, my brother was 10, and then my other cousins are already in their teenage years, and they want nothing to do with me.
Oh.
So like whenever I got older, like when my grandparents died, for instance, and I went up to Pennsylvania for the family, for the funeral and everything, I'm learning all the tea, the family, and all the gossip, and this auntie and this uncle, and all this business. So in the same vein that you don't know what's going on whenever you're a kid, I had no idea all this stuff was happening whenever I was a child. And whenever they're reminiscing and doing all this something there, my mother's telling me about this, my auntie's telling me about this, my cousin's like, oh, I remember this, that, and the other. I'm like, yo, what? Oh, new information. You know, like, one, who are these people? Two, this happened when I was 5, 4, 3 years old. 3, he's like, oh, you remember them? No, Mom, I was 4 years old. I was like,
Piecing it all
yeah.
together.
So in that vein, I'm like, no, finally figuring out, I guess, the family hierarchy and the family tea and all that kind of business.
Okay, so I guess my tradition is that every Lunar New Year we would go to Queens to visit my grandma,
Okay.
and I didn't really like the drive from Staten Island to Queens.
How long was the drive though?
It's probably like 40 to like an hour, depending on like traffic.
Tortillas.
But this kind of gets depressing. But like when my grandma died, the family kind of like fell apart. So like now I get why like all of us went up to Queens and we had like dinner or like lunch or whatever for Lunar New Year. And then when my grandma died, like people started like beefing or like kind of people stopped like gathering. There wasn't like a central person to like gather around.
So in this part of the menu, we call it tortillas y más because we focus on flour tortillas in the north part of Mexico, specifically in Sonora. I myself grew up with an uncle that had a tortilleria that was made with flour tortillas, and the first thing that he would give us it was a fresh tortilla with a little bit of butter right here. For us, we didn't want to make it so classic, so we always want to make a little twist. So in this case, we're gonna have a little bit of butter with honey and chili powder. And the molcajetes, the one with the burnt lime, that's gonna be your onion dip. Right now we have onions in season, again from Trophy Farms. So you're gonna have a little bit of leeks, a little bit of shallots, green onions, yellow onions. We mix it with a little bit of black garlic as well. So make sure that you squeeze that burnt lime on there to make sure that you have the correct acidity. On the guacamole, people are used to eating it with chips. We do one with chips as well, but in this one, we want to showcase again the tortillas. So a little bit of salsa macha. So remember on the first dish that we have, the ceviche negro, we have the base on that. This will be the salsa macha for it. So make sure you get a tortilla, you fold it open, you see that whole presentation, you rip it and take it as dips, okay? Get messy on it. And you're gonna just get in there with your hands with the tortillas. Careful with the skillets, they're gonna be really hot.
Okay.
A little bit of melted Oaxacan cheese, chorizo that we'll make in-house from Yonder Way Farms. A little bit of pico de gallo as well. Over there, tomatoes are also in season. So we have a little bit of a puree with almonds underneath. We compress some melon and matcha vinaigrette, and then you're gonna have on top some mint and fresh cilantro with some fresh red onions. Enjoy, guys.
Chef, thank you.
What's a food, ingredient, or dining experience that has made you feel like you were arrived? I have a really good one that actually happened recently.
Okay, let's hear it.
It was not in the States though. So we recently went to Italy. We went last year for 2 weeks, which my husband and I both caught COVID while we were there. So cut our trip early, but that's okay. And we went to this tiny little restaurant that was tucked in like a corner, like little like side street, and we only found it by chance because the restaurant we wanted to go to was closed. And when we went inside,
Civic in Italy.
oh right, I was like, what the hell?
Posting no hours online.
And so when we arrived, it was full of a whole bunch of locals, but it was very like quiet and serene, and it was very welcoming. And as we sat down for dinner, we got our wine and we got our appetizers. What we got was a bone marrow platter. Oh my god, it was so good. And then some fresh baked bread. Oh my gosh. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was bone marrow. I don't know if it was the ambiance. I don't know if it was just the setting, but like when we sat down and we actually soaked in that moment, we were like, oh my gosh, like we've actually kind of like made it in this moment. Like we are able to
you.
yes, like we were able to have this experience. We're able to share this meal together and not have to like worry too much about like finances. And it was just a really peaceful and like, I don't know, exciting moment for us because we were like, wow, like we're on the other side of the world eating bone marrow in a tiny little restaurant.
Yeah, well, it's totally different country.
In a totally different, yeah, it's totally different
Somewhere that
country.
none of us ever really expected us
Yeah,
to end up.
exactly. Like it wasn't ever something that we had on our radar when we even first graduated school. Like traveling was not quite on our list, and so that moment for us, truly,
No, but
that moment was really special for us because we both kind of had that moment of like, we kind of did actually make it. Like, yeah, and so ever since then, like we've kind of looked forward to like the, I guess, more high-end dining experience that we get to have, because I know in this economy, like it's not, everyone's not going and spending $100, $200, $300 on dinner, but when we do get the opportunity to go and kind of indulge ourselves, we appreciate it so much more.
I remember when I got my first job, I think I went to this little restaurant in Austin, Texas called Calimocho. And I felt so fancy getting a sirloin New York strip, I think it was. And I was like, wow,
Yes,
this is the best of the best, right? I'm like, wow, I'm fancy. And now
New York
we're
Strip.
in a New York strip. I was like, wow, okay. And then you go through your career and you make more money and you gain more experiences and you're like, oh, the Australian A5 Wagyu.
now we're hitting levels.
Right, or like market price. I don't care what it is.
Yeah, exactly. When it just says MP.
Yeah, and I'm like, it's like hit me with it. And it's just like I don't care, and I think that that's one way I really feel like I've arrived in my career is where it's like I'm aware, but I think it's like I have access to these experiences that I want, and I realized how again my 19-year-old palate who thrived off of
Wendy's and
$1.99 chicken McNuggets at McDonald's.
10 piece.
Now it's
10 piece.
10 piece only?
my meat is sourced.
Yeah, it's just crazy to think like how you can measure how far you've come just based on like your palate and also your dining experiences, which is something I don't think anybody thinks about. Like it's never really something you really sit down and think like, I used to only eat Whataburger and now here I am,
Alrighty, guys. So for the last course, we call it asado. We want to mimic what will be a carne asada in the north part of Mexico, again in Sonora. So you're always gonna have your uncle in the grill, just holding on to that. So you're gonna have your entrees on your side. So you're gonna have the chicken on that side. It is gonna be a half deboned chicken that we air dry for about 24 hours, and then we cook it above the mesquite wood with a pipián. Next one in the middle is gonna be our steak. We get our steak from Lubavia. It is gonna be cooked to medium rare. You're gonna have a Colorado sauce next to it. And then on the last one, we get the fish from the Gulf of Mexico. There's gonna be a grouper with a salsa verde. On the sides, on the skillets, we're gonna have from the same cow. We use the fat, and then we cook those green onions with the beef fat. We season with a little bit of lime juice. You're gonna have your classic Mexican rice. We're gonna have rajas con suero. So basically, this is poblano peppers that we cooked with a little bit of caramelized onions and a little bit of whey. So it's essentially a little bit of dairy in there as well. And like once more, everything fresh from the farm. We got these blackberries about 3 months ago. We fermented them, so we've been holding on to them for a special occasion. We're gonna compress everything here in lime juice. You have melon, you have cucumber, you have a little bit of red onion. This is us mimicking what will be a Mexican fruit cart. In case you guys grew up in Mexico, outside of your school, there's always a fruit cart, and then you're gonna finish it with tahini and then a little bit of orange zest. Alrighty, guys, enjoy.
Chef, thank you, man. Thank you.
So beautiful.
This is. My family was on government assistance for a while, and I knew times were good when we could when I could stop eating. And I hate to make it sound like this, like more dramatic than it is, because it's really not, but it's just the way that I grew up, when it was more than just literally rye bread and butter. Like on the days when we didn't have, like I didn't come home and I was just eating rye bread and butter, waiting for those Section 8 benefits to kick in, or waiting for like my parents to get their like basically the equivalent of like a social security check, but through like the government. Yeah, that's what it was like for us. So on the days when we had, Russian salami and cheese, and my mom was able to make a chicken with like rice or like potatoes and stuff like that. I mean, it's like, I hate to sound that dramatic, but my family truly, we grew up like working poor. There was nobody in my family that ever got ahead past the point of like renting an apartment, right? So it's like to have something as simple as like a Costco $5 chicken, that shit was like Christmas to us. You know what I mean? It was like a celebration, right? So it's like growing up like that, you really learn to appreciate. Alexis said it earlier, she's a foodie. I would consider myself a foodie too, but I think, and Alexis, I'm not going to speak for you, I'll just speak for myself. But I think to me, it's like a lot more than that, because this doesn't only like show us like different flavors, and we get to like have our palates dance and our tongues taste all these different flavors, but it really truly also is like a huge privilege, a massive privilege for us to be able to have like this meal together, to all be here alive, healthy, like, you know what I mean, for the most part, and to be able to eat something like this. So like whenever I have a situation like this or a meal like this, I always remember, to Mike's question, those times when it's like rye bread, and it wasn't even real butter. It was like I can't believe it's not butter. It was like one molecule away from being plastic, like that type of butter. So whenever I sit down and have a meal like this, I think of how far I've come. I also think of how far I still have to go. And I never, ever, ever forget the people that I also have to help, on the way here as well.
Well, I started reading mine, and it kind of goes hand in hand. Go ahead, read it off.
It says, what foods made you feel seen at home but different everywhere else? So like beans and rice are the staple of just like everything. It's just
beans what?
that's just what you
You're
get.
Hispanic?
I'm Hispanic.
Okay.
My mom's from Monterrey.
Okay.
When it was like I don't want to say like bad times or like my parents were struggling or something, it was like beans and rice, and my mom would like put down the chicken and mix it all together in like one big bowl. And I'm like, oh, it's one of them days. Like I got beans and rice. I love beans and rice. I was excited, but then to take it to school and be like every day, we were like, and so I grew up like very suburbia in Corpus.
Okay.
So I'm the only one that looked like me or took beans and rice to school. So it was definitely I didn't realize I was like different until I moved to Corpus. Like I didn't realize that I
Ate
stood
differently.
out. Right? Ate differently. It's something that didn't occur to me as a kid here in San Antonio, where I felt from my experience it was very diverse. When I grew up like in elementary school here,
Okay.
and then moving to Corpus, it was like a culture shock for people there to see that I wasn't eating what they ate or listening to the music they did or whatever it was, you know? But I still like found it I'm so grateful for my mom who, oh my gosh, you know, didn't let me like straighten my curly hair or like didn't let me wear like makeup until like I was in high school, like little things like that. Or like I would ask to get like some money to go out to lunch with like the other girls and she's like, you're good with your beans, like you're good with what I gave you. I'm like, okay. And I'm so appreciative of that now.
Just affirming, I think that you are okay being who you are
Yeah.
in these environments where there was almost a contrast of how you showed up in your culture and your family versus environments that almost sort of pushed you to not be okay with that and highlighted that, I think, for you.
Yeah.
Alrighty, guys. Unfortunately, we're approaching the end
I didn't say that.
of this beautiful dinner.
This is the beginning, brother.
Alrighty. So, traditional desserts that we have over here. So we're gonna have some sorbet. What we have in season right now is gonna be a little bit of melon, some chamoy that we did. You're gonna have a tres leches cake.
So good.
For those who don't know a lot of Spanish, but the leches translate to 3 milks. It is made with 3 different milks. And then you're gonna have a pecan flan with an orange syrup. I hope you guys enjoyed everything.
Yes.
After your night.
So much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I feel like we've answered this one. This one's a little bit similar to like the ones that we've talked about.
Right.
But it is, how has your relationship to food changed as your income or circumstances have changed? And I think all of us kind of tapped on that a little bit, but if anybody wants to give another anecdote, Mike.
I got you.
Let's
So when I didn't have as much money as I do today, it was always about quantity versus quality. So like Asian buffets or stuff like that, you know, where can you get the most food in the least amount of money?
Yep.
And then when you saw people go to these fancy restaurants, like a tasting menu, you'd be like, why would I pay $100 for like a small piece of food? And then finally, like when I came up, I got to go to La Bernardin in New York. It's like a 3 Michelin star restaurant.
Dude.
And you eat like a million plates and they're all super small and you get to learn about like what goes into each one. And that's when you realize like there's a difference.
I think this is a good one. I think this one we haven't asked yet. We've asked parts of it, but we haven't asked this exact question. I would love to hear everybody's answer on this. What is something money has not been able to change about the way you eat and prepare food? So what is something that money has not been able to change about the way you either eat and or prepare food?
My company.
The people you keep around you.
Yeah. Like,
The circle.
yeah.
The posse.
Especially like
Group.
my best friend, like growing up, her and I actually grew up differently. She actually grew up, you know, like a little bit poorer. Like Del Rio as a whole, like there isn't a lot of money out there, but like people that there is kind of like that stark distinction between people who kind of like are wealthy versus like people that are either, I guess, like quote unquote, yeah, average or less fortunate. And so my best friend, she didn't grow up, you know, she had a home and everything, but she wasn't, you know, they weren't going out to eat all the time and they kind of ate at home. She didn't get all the things she wanted, but her company has never changed. Whether we were going to McDonald's and getting like dollar menu stuff, or we went to Paris together a couple of years ago and had a 5-star meal at Le Train Bleu, like the company has stayed the same. And I've been able to grow with the people.
Yeah,
So
that's a great
regardless
answer.
of the cost or the price of the food, it's the people who have stayed the same for me at least.
I
Off
think,
to one.
right.
Set
I'm
a
like,
high
I'm
bar,
gonna
Miss
top that. I'm
Virgo.
gonna top that. I think I'm
Amazing.
bringing people together and I'm cooking for them. I think the level of love and care that goes into preparing food has never changed.
Never switched up.
I do it with a lot of thought, a lot of care and intention that I want you to feel the energy. And I think we touched on a lot of sharing your energy with people. I don't think that's just experiencing you as a physical person, but the energy that you put into the things that you do. And it kind of ties into what the energy I put into 6 Eat. My food is the same. But when I'm doing something that's intentional, I take my time and make sure that you're savoring the flavor and the thought behind what I do. And so I think that's one thing that'll never change, no matter how much money I have. If I cook you a meal, if I do something that you are a part of, I want you to feel the level of love and intention that I put into any process that I do. My work, my personal life, the people I have around me, like love and intention is in everything if I step out to do it. So that's one thing for me.
Great answer.
Yeah, you know, likewise, same. Like anytime I think of food, I just think of like the stuff mom and dad used to make when I was a child growing up. And so, like, yeah, they garner more money and gone up in the world. I've started my career. My brother has started his career, but I still go back home. My mom will still make oxtail for me because she knows that's my favorite. Or she'll make what my brother's favorite is. She'll make escovitch fish, things like that. Um, like you can always, no matter how high you go, you know, you try these fancy places or you do these nice 3-star Michelin restaurants wherever you go, you still have something that's comforting to fall back on when you go back home, at least for me.
So it's about humility.
Yeah.
It's about like never being too good for
Yeah.
a certain type of food or a certain
Exactly. You know?
Damn, that was really great. That's great. No, I feel that. That's true. Yeah, the not being too good for this or that.
Exactly. So what parts of your experience with 6 Seats will stay with you long after we leave the table? Just the community. I've never done anything like this before. I've met friends of friends, but I never actually sat in a room with 5 other strangers and had dinner with them in a setting like this. So, I've been on like a journey, if you will, cliche, whatever, but putting myself more out there for like the past year or so, trying new things and being more intentional with what I do with my friends and myself. This is when I had seen this on my TikTok For You page.
Shout out to TikTok.
Shout out
Shout out to the FYP.
I was like, you know, why not? I didn't really think I was going to get chosen, but then I got chosen. It's like, oh, word. Like,
It was meant to be.
yeah, because I checked to see if I was off, and I was off. So I was like, yeah, I'll sign up for it. Yeah, exactly. So the fact that it was just like I feel like I've known you guys for a while already, the way the conversation flowed. So just the way coalesced the Indian, I think they'll take that with me.
I mean, I feel like personally, like I'm taking away, a lot of the conversation, but also like the feeling of community and like being able to know that like I can actually like go up to somebody and not feel so weird and know that like we'll probably have something in common, but definitely like community in the conversation because I feel like everyone had something so different and so unique to say, but also it was so, I guess, like full circle and like making me realize like, oh, okay, like, yeah, that's totally normal. Like I've done that before. I've seen that before. I've gone to that before. So I really appreciate like, this experience. And like again, shout out to TikTok For You page because that's where I found it. And I'm an extrovert. Like I know that for a fact. Now, but like, why the hell? No, really? Yeah.
No.
But I feel like this was definitely outside like my norm of like comfort of actually like truly opening up and just like spilling whatever I wanted to say. So I'm really appreciative like for the experience and for all of you all for like reservations and like RSVPing and being like, okay, we're gonna be there. So yeah.
Yeah. Shaughnessy said it very, very well, but I'll just add to what he said, which is like you cultivated and created this experience and you created an environment where all of us could feel comfortable and vulnerable enough. We are 5 strangers, which is crazy. 6 strangers, actually, let's be honest. But what I'll say is that you created this experience, and because you cultivated an environment where we all felt like we could come and just be ourselves and camera or no camera, it don't matter to us. Like we're all talking and looking at each other in the eyes, which is really cool too. Yeah, it's all thanks to you, Jade. Seriously, like You killed it.
So I think the thing that I'm gonna remember most about this is just coming out and connecting with strangers with no other intentions. So like a lot of the things that I do, I'll connect with strangers, but it's mainly for business, right? There's always like a goal.
Networking.
Yeah, but like this one, like
Just to connect.
yeah, I mean like hopefully you buy my ice cream. I don't know. Like there's no intention with me coming here. I'm just here to like talk to people. So
Set up my water. It's actually funny. Oh my god.
So yeah, just to connect without any, goal in mind, just to literally come out and catch your vibe.
The great thing is here at 60, something that you've done is that you're like curating everyone here. Is that there's no cringe culture in anybody here.
Yeah.
Like you immediately feel that everyone's here for the whimsy and the joy and to love. And that may sound cliche, but live, laugh, love. Okay?
No,
And that's what
really.
60 is to me.
A time was had. We laughed, we vibed, we shared space for one another. Gratitude is what I feel tonight with y'all and this experience. Thank y'all for an unforgettable night and a new core memory.
This just reaffirms my belief that to foster community, we must be willing to step out, encourage, and be vulnerable. It's a small price to pay for the joys found in others. We are not as alone as we may feel at times, and the person next to us may be more alike than we realize.
It was super cool to connect with people just to connect. I feel like every day we have an agenda, and it was great to just chat without one.
I've truly enjoyed this experience. It has been so lovely to get to know everyone over a delicious meal. Being able to show my authentic self and share my story while also seeing how much I have in common with strangers is such a beautiful blessing. A night I will never forget. This has pushed me to continue to be myself unapologetically.
This was a very enlightening experience. Coming in as 6 strangers and leaving with a new understanding was an incredible and intimate experience. Looking forward to the progression of this concept.
60 that's very unique.
But it has significance to my family, my story. My family, we have 6 of us total. And when I left for college, I think gathering was such a huge part of my family's tradition and how we connected with one another. And sometimes I think in families we lose sight of how difficult it is to come together. Matriarchs are usually in charge of that, and sometimes when you step away, you don't really realize the significance of gathering, and that it's more than just, again, like we're doing eating, right? We're having a very robust conversation about things that matter. And so when I left college and I was left to do the McDonald's and the fast food, you lose sight of the connection that happens over the table that transcends just consuming. And it's more about the connections that we form and vulnerable moments that we share, and what do these moments really mean to us? And so when I left, I lost a lot of that. And I think so much of that was tied to my personal identity. Who am I without these people that I gathered with at the table and really see like parts of myself evolve through like having difficult conversations and talking about like, what does this mean? And so when I came back home, even though I didn't want to be back home, I was kind of forced home. I always filled that 60 in my family's home. I brought inspiration, I brought conversation, I brought introspection, I brought different ideas with me back to this seat at my parents' table that really helped made us feel complete. And so there's such a huge, I think, importance of 60 and why these meals and these conversations are so valuable, even for strangers who've never met each other. And it's like, I hope that's what we can take from this table, is that like our stories matter. I mean, even hearing certain stories from Mike and Madeline, all of you each bring an individual component, I think, that makes us think about how we grew up and what we consumed and how we eat, what we eat, where our food comes from, how we prepare it, that like is valuable to the conversation and where we are today in life, in our economy, in our society, our country. It all matters. That's why 60 is called 60.